Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about light and shadow today. So I know I've made some videos before, but I'm just going to cover a couple of quick points that are going to be really crucial when you're drawing it. So let's just draw a little oval here, and then maybe like an antenna, and then um, let's say we have the brow ridge right here, okay? So the brow line of somebody's head, and then let's say we have the bottom of the nose here, and then let's say you have the chin here. Okay, so the idea is that so light reveals the structure, okay, when the light hits the form, okay? So if there's a light coming down on his head, right, then what's going to happen is you have to find out where these sockets are. Okay, so eye sockets. I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible. Okay, let's see the side plane of the nose here. We don't need to worry about anything, out here. What we're trying to do is we're trying to look for those shadow shapes. Like I said, the light reveals that structure. Okay, so that's the first thing. And this is just a little generic head, but you could be more specific if you have a reference. I'm just drawing this real quick here. So what you want to do is articulate those shapes and make them really specific. Okay, that's the idea. And then once you do that, then you can mass in that shadow. So you just mass it in, just like this, just real simple and flat. Okay, pushes it back. Now you're probably also just out of my head here. You're probably going to have another shadow shape here. Okay, that would be a cast shadow if the light's coming down. So then you just mask that in, just like that. Now the idea is that you put that value in. So whenever I start the drawing, I start it with two values, right? So one value for the light, one value for the shadow. Okay. Now this here is going to obviously will get more specific, right? You will articulate, and when I say articulate, what I'm talking about is you just make the shapes more specific as you begin to work the drawing. Okay, so I think that's probably. I just want to keep it real basic for now, but hopefully that makes sense. So usually on a scale of 1 to 9, you would mask this in kind of like at a 7, a 6 or a 7, something like that. And then this is going to have edges to it, right? So there's going to be an edge on this shape here. Okay, so maybe that edge is soft. Just observe what you're looking at. So maybe you got a soft edge here, maybe up here. Maybe it's a little bit sharper here, and then maybe it's softer here, right? Then maybe it gets sharper here, and then soft in there, right? So you really just have to observe. So wherever there's a bone, right, that's going to be a sharper edge. Okay, so keep that in mind. Whenever you have a turning form, it's going to be a softer edge, all right? But the idea and what's going to make it look good is when you start to make those shapes more specific to what you see, right? And then inside of there, I just make a little line for the eyes there to keep them, keep the, I draw through a lot of times and I draw around. So what that does is that allows me to line up everything and keep it symmetrical, right? That's pretty big deal. So I'll give him a little smiley face. Oh, jeez. Okay, so yeah. So articulate the shape and then just make it more specific, okay? And then we will try to, I'll try to make another video to kind of continue off this, but hopefully that gives you kind of some kind of a base for what's going to happen. And of course, you got like relative thirds if you're building a head. Maybe the hairline is in here, right? Side plane of the head is here. Whatever you got, whatever kind of hair they might have, come down. Let's say maybe the ears over here, and let's come across. So maybe the angle of the jaw would be in there, and then you'd have your neck. This is just kind of generic here, but hopefully it gives you kind of an idea. Down here you may have a cast shadow, right, coming down. Okay, so that would be the same thing again. You would mask that in like that, simple shape. I like doing these generic heads. They're kind of fun. Zygomatic bone there. So anyways, yep, you guys can keep messing with that and practicing. You get your frontal bone and all that stuff. But the idea for the video is light and shadow. So that's all you got to do. Just separate the light and shadow, and then mass in that shape, and then put the edges on the shape. Okay. As soon as you put the edges on it, it's going to make it look. It's going to help it. All right. And I would spend more time and make this more specific, but maybe the next video I'll do that. Okay. And this, of course, would probably be darker. But as you're making those, modifying the edges, you will come back in, and then you can restate that mass. Because a lot of times you'll lose it. As you're modeling, you'll lose those shadows. You'll have to go back and restate them. So that's pretty common thing. So, okay, if you guys have any questions, I hope that helped you out a little bit. Gives you kind of an idea of the light and shadow, maybe how I would design something real quick. And I'll see you on the next video, all right? Take care.